people talk big three, but the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three.
The big three era has always had its moment. Way before myself, D-Wade, and Bosh came together. You had Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. They played together.
Bird, Parrish, McHale.
McHale, exactly. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman.
Come again?
Exactly. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman. The big three era will always kind of be there.
When it comes to every superstar in league history, the ultimate goal, the crowning achievement, is being an NBA champion. And when you really want to split hairs looking at the best players of all time, you got to take into account how they got those rings, how much help they had, did they leave their team, and what are the context of their rings. And looking at the modern era, the one guy who's kind of muddied the waters is indeed LeBron James, as looking at LeBron's career, the architect of a modern day super team.
Because I never thought about playing with LeBron.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was possible, first of all.
I was shocked when it happened.
You and me both.
Shocked.
And plus, it's my favorite person besides Cole, to compete against. I'm not thinking about playing with him. I love our matchups. And then I got a call.
The real question for me is, can I play without cheating this game?
Nope.
So that right there, LeBron James joining D-Wade and Chris Bosh, were both top 10 players in 2010. That move in the moment was a gutless move, stacking the deck for a cheap championship. That move from LeBron James right there set the precedent for the entire era of the 2010s, even to a certain degree, the 2020s, as someone like KD in 2016 did the exact same thing, an even more gutless move, joining the Golden State Warriors.
Coward.
And look, when it comes to a super team moniker, super teams, yes, have always existed. But here's the difference. Super teams of the past, they were built organically, they didn't skip several steps. The LeBron James Heat, Kevin Durant Warriors, those teams skipped about 5 steps and cheated the game to a degree we've never seen.
The game is going to continue to evolve. Like you said, the big three era had its moment. The big three era has always had its moment. Way before myself, D-Wade, and Bosh came together. You had Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. They played together.
It's not the same!
So stopping LeBron and Steve Nash right there, their initial comments, initial points, super teams always existing, it's factually true. Look at the 50s, 60s, up to the 2000s, they've always existed. But here's the one detail they conveniently leave out. Those teams of the past, like I said earlier, were built organically and didn't skip steps. And look at that first big three LeBron listed. Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. That right there is 3 NBA superstars, 3 legends on the exact same team. In a lot of fans' minds, that's a big three, and of course, a super team. But here's the difference. These guys first year playing together, Elgin Baylor, he was 34. Wilt Chamberlain was 32, and Jerry West was 30. For that era of NBA history, being in your early 30s, mid 30s, that's considered old and the verge of retirement. Look at the big three Heat. Dwayne Wade, 29. Chris Bosh, 26. LeBron, 26. That right there is a big time difference. Miami's big three, all those guys, are their absolute prime apex, physically, skill-wise, and really all-around game. The Lakers' big three, Elgin 34, 1 foot out the door. Wilt Chamberlain, the edge of his prime, and Jerry West, the one guy who was still in his prime. And here's one big difference nobody will ever mention. Wilt Chamberlain, 1968, leaving Philadelphia. He was an NBA champion 2 years prior. Look at LeBron James in 2010. He wasn't just ringless, but had choked numerous times in the playoffs as the favorite, not only win the East, but win the championship. LeBron at this point, he was ringless and fleeing Cleveland.
Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, they played together. You had so many guys that's the big three era. So
Bird, Parrish, McHale.
So stopping Steve Nash right there, yet again listing big threes, this time Bird, Parrish, McHale, as well as Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. And looking at Boston first and foremost, yes, that team back in the day, they were a big three, and they were absolutely loaded. But here's the one context Steve Nash simply doesn't mention or chooses to ignore. How that Boston team was built was through the front office and that collusion behind the scenes. As looking at Larry Bird, he was drafted to the Celtics. Kevin McHale, the exact same thing. Parrish, through a trade. DJ, a trade, Danny Ainge, a second-round draft pick, then Bill Walton, also a trade. For someone like Bird having great players around him, it wasn't due to collusion, meddling, or him asking for players every single season. And looking at Magic's Lakers, the exact same story. Magic himself drafted 1980. Kareem got through a trade. Worthy drafted. Scott drafted. Cooper drafted. AC Green also drafted. So for guys like Bird and Magic, yes, they had tremendous help. But looking at their roster, their teammate help, how they got that help was an ethical way through the front office, great draft picks, as well as trades. And of course, guys like Magic and Bird playing in the 80s, an absolutely stacked era, having that much help guarantees you nothing. As like we saw in 2011, just because you have all-stars, great players around you, doesn't mean you're winning a championship just like that.
Bird, Parrish, McHale.
McHale, exactly. Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, so like, the Big Three era will always kind of be there.
So stopping that right there very quickly, saying Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman were some kind of Big Three, even super team, I really don't buy it. Jordan's lone all-star teammate was of course Scottie Pippen, and Scottie in his own right was a phenomenal player, one of the best wings in league history. But for someone like Rodman, that's where you lose me. Dennis in '96, the Bulls had a phenomenal season, the last great year of Rodman's career, where he made first team all-defense. But here's the added context. Dennis prior to '96 was viewed as team cancer and a powder keg that could explode at any moment. And for the Spurs, they dumped him for absolutely nothing. Look at this trade. Dennis Rodman, a so-called, all-star, superstar, great player, traded a 1-for-1 swap with Will Perdue, the Bulls' backup center.
What? How about that? Isn't that amazing?
Looking at that trade 30 years later, with hindsight being 2020, it's an absolute robbery. Will Perdue, a decent backup center, nothing more. Dennis Rodman, a great player, future Hall of Famer. But again, the context, Rodman's value 95 was in an absolute low, and the Bulls taking him in 1000% was a risk and a roll of the dice by Phil as well as Jerry Krause. The Spurs back in '95, they were almost giddy and happy to dump Rodman for absolutely nothing. And for someone like Popovich, he thought the Spurs minus Rodman were a championship team. With Rodman, he said they weren't. So look, when it comes to Dennis in Chicago, was he an all-star or superstar? Of course, far from it. He was 34 years old, even by '96. '97, '98, a big time decline. In those two playoffs combined, 4.5 points, 10.2 boards, sub 40% shooting, and from the line below 60%. Now, one more thing I do want to touch on. When it comes to LeBron James camp, their playbook, it's quite simple and transparent. For guys like Jordan, Bird, Magic, inflate their help and overrate it. For LeBron James, downplay it, diminish it, say LeBron James never really had any help.
People talk Big Three, but the Big Three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a Big Three.
Oh, fuck off.
If, like Rich Paul, you say LeBron James, he never had a Big Three, a super team, that means Jordan, his career, also never had it and had far less help. Two things which, of course, are objectively true. And looking at LeBron's 3 stops, LA, Cleveland, Miami, this guy every single stop had stacked team after stacked team. Trying to say LeBron James hasn't had great help is an absolute farce. You're living in a fantasy land. As looking at LeBron post-2010, even in 2014 with Cleveland, stacked the deck included like no player in league history before or since. So that right there is the end of the video, and once again for the super team label, Big Three label, LeBron James simply does not get it. Super teams Big Threes, they've always existed. But the way those teams are built, constructed, was organically through the front office, not through players. LeBron's teams, how he built them, was through collusion, jumping ship, in the slimiest ways possible for an NBA superstar. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.